Many people think Peppa Pig is just another harmless kids' cartoon, but some fans believe the complete opposite. Have you heard about the wild theories surrounding the Little Piggies animated series? One thing we can guarantee, they're all seriously bizarre.
Ooh!
We've already had the chance to see what Peppa's parents were like as kids, thanks to some flashbacks from when they were in Madame Gazelle's class. But what if we told you that the girl seen hanging out with young Daddy Pig isn't his future wife, but rather Dottie, Peppa's aunt, who made her first appearance in a fairly recent episode? That theory might sound pretty crazy, especially since Mummy Pig herself said that she was the one in that scene with Daddy Pig. So if that girl actually isn't her, then it means Peppa's mom was lying. Big time. But here's the thing, we actually have reason to believe she was lying, and you're about to be blown away. Think about what it would mean if Dottie went to school with Daddy Pig. If that's true, they must have talked and played together every day, while Mummy Pig was off doing who knows what. Add that to the fact that Dottie now lives far away and hasn't visited her sister in years, doesn't it kind of look like she and Daddy Pig used to date? Picture this. Peppa's dad and aunt knew each other since childhood, became best friends, and then dated as teenagers. But the relationship didn't work out, and they eventually broke up. Later on, Daddy Pig fell in love with his ex's sister, and the two ended up getting married and having kids. Dottie probably got upset about it, leading to a huge argument, and that could be what pushed her to move away for good. That would explain why Peppa's aunt moved to another country, and more importantly, why she stayed away for so long. George wasn't even born the last time she visited. It also explains why Dottie showed up unannounced in the episode where she was introduced. Maybe Mummy Pig didn't even want to see her. The two might look like they get along, but who knows if that's all just an act for the kids. And in the end, this whole secret would explain why Mummy and Daddy Pig lied about going to school together just to keep their kids from finding out about this family drama. It's pretty shocking to think this might actually be true, right? But that's just the first of the 7 bizarre theories you've never heard about in Peppa Pig. So buckle up, because this is Cinewave. Santa Claus has popped up in the show a few times, which makes sense. There have been several Christmas specials, but that's where things start getting weird. Even though the show has been airing for 20 years in real life, not even a full year has passed in Peppa's world, and yet there have been multiple Christmases. In other words, time both moves and doesn't move, like some kind of time loop. This is something a lot of people already theorize about, especially since the tech in the show keeps evolving to match real-world trends. But what most people don't consider is that Santa himself might be behind all these strange events. After all, he's not just some jolly old guy with a sleigh and a toy factory, he's a supernatural being. Otherwise, how could he possibly visit every single house in one night and deliver Christmas gifts to all the kids? If you think about it, the fact that he can do that strongly suggests he's able to control time. See what we mean? The more we talk about this, the more it seems likely that Santa put the Peppa Pig universe into a time loop, one where nobody ages, even though time keeps passing by. Technology advances, but the kids never grow up. And maybe that's exactly what he wants, so the kids don't become adults and he can keep doing his job, giving out presents on Christmas. And let's not forget, there are fewer and fewer animals of the same species in Peppa's world, since there's only one family per animal. That means the next generation probably won't be able to have many kids, and over time, there will be fewer and fewer children in that world. Eventually, that would lead to the extinction of every species. So wait a minute, if all of this is true, then Santa isn't just magical, he's actually a hero. The Tooth Fairy is another legendary figure in Peppa's universe, just like Santa. She shows up in an episode where one of Peppa's baby teeth falls out and the fairy comes to collect it. But here's the thing, the Tooth Fairy looks a lot like Peppa, and it gets even more suspicious when you go back to the beginning of the episode and remember that Peppa says she wants to be a Tooth Fairy when she grows up. What if she actually made that dream come true, and the fairy is future Peppa? It's wild to think she somehow became a magical being, but not totally impossible, especially since the existence of fairies in this world is already pretty supernatural. And since Santa clearly seems capable of time travel, then fairies probably can too, which would explain how future Peppa could show up and visit her younger self. If you'd love to see this theory confirmed in the show someday, drop a comment below with #fairy. Daddy Pig is one of the most beloved characters in the show, but he might be hiding something from us. The secret could be that he actually has 2 personalities. And yes, before you ask, that is possible. In real life, there are people who end up developing more than one personality, either due to trauma or even since birth. Daddy Pig could be one of them, with one personality that's super smart and shows up at work, and another that's kind of clueless and usually kicks in when he's home with his family. After all, one thing a lot of fans can't wrap their heads around is how he manages to be an engineer, especially one who's pretty well known in his field. Just think about it. Engineers have to spend years in college before they can even start their careers, so Peppa's dad must have studied a lot. Even so, plenty of scenes in the show make it very clear that this guy is really dumb. Like the time he was explaining how cement works and had the brilliant idea of stepping into a puddle of it, which of course dried up while he was talking. So now he's stuck. Totally predictable. Daddy Pig has also tried to crawl into small holes multiple times, even though he always gets stuck because, well, he's huge. He doesn't even know how much force to use when hammering a nail into the wall. He just smashes right through it. I wouldn't trust this guy to help build anything. But maybe that's the whole point. No one trusts the daddy pig who gets stuck in wet cement, but they do trust the one who's a genius engineer, because they're actually two different personalities living in the same person. While real-life kids are watching Peppa Pig, the kids who live inside Peppa's world are obsessed with Mr. Potato and Super Potato. These two, along with a bunch of other vegetable characters, are crazy famous. They don't just star in kids shows, they also do plays, appear in movies, and even shoot scenes in Hollywood. In other words, they're everywhere. They're so insanely popular that some people have started to wonder if something weird is going on behind the scenes, just like with real-world celebrities. Fans started to theorize that Mr. Potato and the rest of the veggie crew are actually part of a powerful cult. This cult would have tons of influence, including ties to big-name business people and politicians, so it wouldn't be hard at all for them to turn loyal members into famous stars. In return, Mr. Potato and the others are expected to spread the cult's message around the world, using subliminal messages hidden in their shows and movies. And the show totally suggests that people are at risk of being influenced. Remember when Mummy Pig couldn't get Super Potato's song out of her head just because the show was playing constantly on TV? Peppa was the one watching it, but even her mom got influenced just from hearing it in the background without even paying full attention. Earlier, we talked about the idea that Dottie moved to another country because she had a falling out with her sister, but there's another possible reason Peppa's aunt has been missing for so long. She might be tied to organized crime. First off, let's be clear, there are definitely crimes happening in Peppa's world. There are a bunch of clues suggesting Mr. Fox, Freddy's dad, is a full-on thief. And let's not forget, actual pirates have shown up in a few episodes too. But Dottie might be on a whole different level. She could be a high-ranking criminal who's wanted across the entire country. That would explain exactly why she moved so far away. And just like with the earlier theory, it also explains why she visited the Pig family without giving them a heads up. Because if she did, the police might have tracked her message and set up a trap. So now the big question is, do some members of Peppa's family actually have connections to the criminal underworld? We don't know for sure, but one thing we do know is that you should definitely subscribe to the channel so you never miss our daily videos about your favorite cartoons. The narrator in Peppa Pig talks so much that honestly he might have spoken more than any character outside the Pig family. He's there in every single episode, watching and explaining everything, even stuff that doesn't need any explanation at all. We usually don't think too hard about it, right? I mean, he's not even technically a real character, right? Right? Well, not everyone agrees with that. Some fans think otherwise. The narrator refuses to just narrate what's happening. Sometimes he even responds indirectly to what the characters say. And like we mentioned, he'll explain stuff that's already super obvious. On top of that, he occasionally talks directly to us, the viewers, giving little bits of advice here and there. Even though he seems fully aware that Peppa Pig is just a show, the narrator still isn't someone who knows everything. And that's clear when we remember he occasionally asks questions. For example, when someone loses an object, the narrator actually wonders where it went, out loud. All of this makes one thing pretty clear. He's not just a voice floating in the background, he's some kind of entity that can see almost everything. And he knows he's narrating episodes of a kid's show. This video is coming to an end, but your fun doesn't have to. Just click on one of the two videos on your screen and keep hanging out with us. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!